Hello everyone. Today on the first episode of Creator Course, we are going to talk about creating a carousel. Carousels are really popular right now on Instagram. Things I'd like to talk about for carousels is that they add a bit of an interactive element. A customer or just a viewer swipes and there's like a connective tissue, so to speak, throughout each slide. So they're more likely to swipe. This can boost reach and even sales. So carousels are an advantageous tool right now. So I thought, why not make one? And these are pretty beginner friendly overall, but I'm going to do a few technical things, but I'm going to try to break it down as best I can. Okay, so we have the summer banner. I created this on Illustrator yesterday, and then I went ahead and added this beautiful mountain image. I actually took this picture, I added the grain to it. This is in Austria. I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking to make sure it sits in the background. It's not too distracting from all the elements that will be on the carousel. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edit these artboards. The key to a good carousel is that your artboards are flush together. You can achieve this by holding and dragging your artboards until they are against each other. You can see that the snapping guides will kind of tell you like this is center and this is flush together. So now I'm going to drag my image that I had discussed, and I already cropped it to fit perfectly, but if I did want to crop it, you would go to crop image and then adjust the little handlebars. It's super simple, but if I don't want to follow through, like right now, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that. But if you want to crop your image, that's just a handy thing to know. I'm gonna copy, so Command C, and then to paste, Command V. What I'm gonna do is create a mirrored effect, so it'll have a nice flow to the background. It'll almost be like a panorama. So what I'm gonna do here is mirror, flip horizontally rather. And then look at that. It's kind of an odd shaped mountain, but I'm gonna have something to cover that. But I like the flow now that we've created. It's funny, when I originally took this picture, I thought this was a bird, but it's a bug of some kind. And I think it's so cute. And it's very summery. Really like this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I did here. Honestly, a really easy way to add a little bit of a vintage look or a haze, or even just make sure that your background doesn't distract as much from your foreground. This is a super easy little trick. This is just a big rectangle that I've turned the opacity down to 25%. So how I would do that is get my rectangle tool, which is right here, and also I hold it down and I can get other shapes, but I'm gonna go ahead and drag over. It's not perfect, but that doesn't matter. And then I would go to my opacity and turn it down to whatever I want. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and undo opacity, undo rectangle, because I already have one. This adds, like I said, an effect to make it less distracting, or, a little bit of a vintage, hazy look. Who doesn't love that? So I'm going to go ahead and actually lock this layer, and I think I'll lock my background. So that is the step one. And then what we're going to do next is, so this little summer banner that I've created, I'm going to go ahead and let's see what it looks like centered. Oh, that is centered. Okay, great. There's two ways to create a border around my little summer banner. There's number one is using the pen tool. The pen tool has a bit of a learning curve to it. Don't despair, it's fine. What we're gonna do is kind of create. I actually don't want it to be perfect, so you could be like real precise with this. I'm literally just clicking everywhere I want. And if I wanted to see what I was doing, which right now I It's obviously covering up what I'm doing. I'm going to turn down the opacity, simple as that. And I want it to be kind of cattywonk and not precise. That is intentional, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and turn the opacity back. So that's the easy way to use the pen tool, like just click, turn down the opacity. When you're creating curvature, you hold and drag like so. But we're not going to get into that today. We'll have a whole nother probably video for the pen tool, but today is not that day. But so I have my little silly shape. I'm going to go ahead, and I don't like the sharpness of this corner, so I'm going to round all the corners because why not? But if I wanted to round just one corner, I would double click, and I could turn this to, I don't know, a 3. And yeah, I could also adjust the style of corner that I want, but right now that's fine. To send this to the back, I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Super simple. Actually, I don't want that to be cream. I want that to be white to cream. There's a little more contrast between this like chartreusey yellow and the background. So I like that. I think it's cute. I'm going to show you the number 2 way to create a more precise border. I'm going to go ahead and get my little pennant flag. I'm going to do image trace. Okay, sometimes it doesn't ask you. You can click don't show again, but I don't really care. I'm gonna go to it actually really doesn't matter for this because it's a simple little illustration. I'm gonna do 6 colors, and then you'll see that it looks very similar, except it's in this box. What I want is to get it out of the box forever. I'm gonna click expand. I'm going to click the screen, and now I really want to remove this background. There we go. And I double clicked that and then press delete. Like, so simple. Going to click this shape, and I'm going to fill it with white. And now I'm going to add a 30-point stroke. So I just typed in 30 into the stroke, and you can see that it's pretty perfect. I think it looks good. The key though, on this image you can't really tell that there's a lot of angles to this stroke, but it's on butt cap and miter joint. What I want is it to be on a round cap with a round joint. And sometimes you'll see these like crazy little spikes sticking out, and as soon as you click these two, it smooths out the entire border. So if you're ever like, oh my goodness, why is this stroke so angular and crazy? Just round your corners and your joints. So there we have it. We have I'm gonna go ahead and move that so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll line it up, object, arrange, send it back. And now we have kind of a more streamlined border. Again, you can totally make the pen tool create a perfect border, but if I'm wanting something more loose and angular, I usually use the pen tool. Oh, something I forgot to mention is go ahead and click unite, so that way it's one shape. I'll get more into this later, but it's very important that it's one shape because sometimes it'll make them honestly thousands of little micro shapes within the shape. So I want it to be one unified whole. So yeah, let's use this one. I actually like the more goofy guy. All right, so what I want to do now is go ahead and place all my elements in the carousel. So I'm going to go to File, Place, Carousel Assets. I already have a folder filled with everything I need. This is very helpful. I have a file of PNGs here. This is, an image with a transparent background. I want PNGs. I don't want JPEGs. So this is very important. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I do these PNGs. I do this in Photoshop. So let's hop over to Photoshop and I'm gonna show you how this is done. So now we're in Photoshop. We have this awesome little water bottle icon with a full background. All you have to do is click remove background. That's literally it. And you'll see my computer's a little slow, but you'll see a transparent background now. And we will go to File, Export, Export As, and make sure that the PNG format is selected, and then click Export. And of course you want to make sure it's saved in the right spot. Go ahead and name this Stanley and save. All right, and now let's head back to Illustrator. Okay, so now I'm ready to add my PNGs to my carousel. So I'm gonna click Shift. You can also like just drag, that's great too. But I wanna be more selective. I'm gonna add lemonade. I don't need the pennant because I already have it in there. Shorts. I have two different sizes of certain ones, so I'm not gonna do that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go up here, and I'm just gonna add all my little guys here. There's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I organize. Is this organized? Maybe not. But okay, so now I have all my resources here. I've already laid this out in Illustrator, so that's where I have the advantage. I kind of know where things are going already, but if you were just dragging in your resources and you're like, don't know exactly where they're going, that's okay. It takes a lot of trial and error. So I'm like, I want my little outfit to be kind of front and center. I'm gonna make these shorts a bit, oops. To scale this down, I probably should tell you what I'm doing. I'm holding Shift, scaling, letting go, and then releasing Shift. Make sure you hold Shift down before and after, because if you, for example, if you hold down Shift, and then release Shift before you release from the trackpad, you see how it's getting warped. This is what we don't want. So undo that. I want my images to stay proportionate. Yeah, so I'll do this again. Shift. Okay. And like I did earlier, I flipped horizontally. You can also flip vertically, you know, a little upside down flamingo action. But yeah, I'm just gonna like place things and maybe over here. I'm going to add the Birkenstocks. Just playing around, seeing where I want things. This is a German brand of lemonade that is so good. It's also fizzy, so it's like a sparkling lemonade drink. Oops, I was holding Shift. When you rotate, if you hold Shift, you know, it's being more precise. I don't want to hold Shift. Like I said, I have already done this arrangement, so I do know that this is gonna be a watermelon mountain. I mean, dreams. So obviously these things are a little crowded. They're not going to stay this way. I also created these paper textured stars already, but it has that kind of organic paper texture, which I don't know, something about star shapes cut out of paper is just so nostalgic to me. Do you guys remember when you were kids and you just like cut out random shapes out of paper for no reason? Did y'all do that? I totally did that. Just cut out goofy shapes and was so delighted by that process. So this is my inner child cutting stars, but instead it's in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so I'm gonna add a border to this lemonade. First of all, I'm gonna copy it because this is my background. Image trace. I'm gonna go to 16 colors. The reason I'm going with more colors is like I really want this pale yellow to stand out against the background, just like this. This looks good. And then click expand. This is necessary. Double click the background and delete. Simple as that. I'm gonna go ahead and click the foreground just so I can have it all selected. I'm gonna go to fill, white. You see what I mean about all the little individual shapes? I don't want this. This is very important because this is all going to save in the layers panel, and it's going to, for example, all of these little squares, all of this, these are all the shapes within this lemonade. I don't want that because that's taking up an enormous amount of storage. I'm going to unify this shape, and now look at it. One path. We love that. I'm going to edit, undo, add, because I want to make sure you saw that. Click to unite. So easy. I'm going to add a 30 stroke. This is just the number I'm using today. And then remember, round cap, round joints. I'm going to object range, send it back. And I want it to be off-centered on purpose because that looks silly and I love it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do that same process. I also could use the pen tool and build little angular shapes too if I wanted. I'm gonna go ahead and add borders to most of these. I don't know if I'll do all of them, but probably 90%. Okay, fast forward. I went ahead and added background outlines to each shape. You can see the arrangement is a little different. I took out the pink flamingo because I was like, this is kind of mountain vibes, hiking, so I thought the s'more was more fitting. Yeah, I just went ahead and arranged everything in an aesthetic kind of way, and I really like how this looks so far. I added a little bit of a picnic blanket type of texture. This actually, I'll show you how I did this. Let's just do an ellipse. And then I did effect, 3D materials. You're gonna go to materials. And there's all kinds of interesting materials to choose from. Some are a little tacky, I'm gonna say. Yeah, but cardboard is kind of fun, you know. There's some wood. I thought about doing a wood texture, like very summer camp-esque, but alas, I went with the gingham. And I didn't really tweak it that much. You can up your size resolution. And then I'm gonna repeat the pattern like, I don't know, like a 40, 45. Or actually, like, that looks good, 49. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep that. But that's how I would add the texture. And then I can adjust. And then if I wanted to kind of make it more of this odd, quirky shape, I will go to the direct select tool and kind of manipulate these like little handles. And that's kind of what I did here, just make this little silly shape. Because I didn't want it to feel too serious. But that is how I added the little background there. I'm gonna go ahead and add text to each of these. So I'm gonna go to my type tool. I'm just gonna just regular type. I'm going to say Fujifilm. I'm gonna make this a little bigger, like let's do 48. And then I'm gonna do Dunbar tall, bold. This is my branding fonts. So there we have Fujifilm. And then I'm gonna say like Instax camera, and I'm gonna make that in Courier regular. I'm gonna make that smaller, and yeah, I kind of like the spacing of that too. I'm gonna go ahead and add that about right there. Yeah, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you. For this watermelon, like I want the text to be parallel with the side. Yeah, watermelon. Quintessential. That's how I type. Like I have to enunciate. Summer fruit. Just making it cute. When I try to rotate this, it's gonna be kind of unhinged. So to reverse that, I'm gonna undo, of course, and I'm gonna go make sure that you're not like within the text. Like if you're on the type tool, you can't do this. So go to direct your selection tool and just have it outlined. Go to type, create outlines. So now each individual letter is adjustable. That obviously looks ridiculous, so I'm gonna undo that. But now they're independent of one another, they're manipulatable. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it to just look cool with my oopsie. No. Yeah, that looks right. And then I'm gonna hold shift, scale up, release shift, and how cute is that? So I'm gonna go ahead and again, fast forward and do this to each product. Okay, so now all of them have their little descriptions, the brand, in case you wanted to know. Shop the Pug is the brand of this bandana. I know we were all wondering. I have all these locked, so I'm gonna go ahead and unlock these. I have not really touched on layer management. Can't say that I'm the best at layer managing. If it was for someone else, if this was for a client, this would be organized, but it's for me, so alas, it is sloppy. I'm gonna add a shadow to this actually, and I'm gonna show you how I do that. I'm gonna go to Stylize, Drop Shadow, super simple. I'm gonna increase this. This is set to like whatever I used it for last. There, I like that better. Yeah, it does stand out a little bit better. It is hard to read against the background, but I mean, I'm not here for perfection, but that is better. So yeah, I added a shadow. If I want to add a shadow to, like I added a shadow to a few different things. Let's go ahead and add one to the summer banner, or do I want to decrease it? I think I want to decrease it actually, it's a little too intense. I'm going to drop it to like a 35. That's good enough. I added shadow, like I added kind of a side shadow to the watermelon to give it a little more dimension, and then kind of a classic shadow on this. This looks like a sticker, which I would put a die cut sticker of a Cotopaxi backpack on everything I own. Yeah, this is like basically the complete carousel. I think it's so cute. If I saw these products displayed this way, I think it's really fun. It's engaging. They look kind of a bit nostalgic. I mean, summer is my favorite season, so anytime I see a summer inspired carousel lately, I like stop in my tracks and reminisce, and just I love summer. I love the heat. So this is an homage to how much I love summer. So a helpful tip, if you want to see roughly what it will look like, anything you're working on in Illustrator will look like in the real world, you can go to View and Presentation Mode. This, I don't know, it helps a little bit. A lot of times do a lot of readjusting after I look at something in presentation mode. This, I really like the way this one looks, and that one. Love it. And then press Escape to go back to your normal screen. So in summary, today we talked about adding a white border to your images, specifically images. This is the way I choose to do it. Typically it's the image trace way, but hey, pen tool is great too. So you have multiple tools that you learned about today. We did a lot. Good job, guys. It's just a fun project. Carousels, whether it's for your personal use or your business, like carousels are fun. I'm so glad that they're back, like taking precedence over reels, which is awesome. I love photography. I love things just like this. So if you love carousels too, and obviously you came here to learn how to make one, I hope this was helpful. Comment down below if you want a video like how to make carousels in Canva or Kittl, more accessible programs, or even Adobe Express. Let me know. I would love to know what you guys want to learn how to make. These are beginner level, but hopefully we can get to intermediate someday. Who knows? And I'm so glad that y'all are here. Hopefully you're inspired to make an adorable carousel now that's aesthetic and engaging. So thank you for being here. Hope to see you in the next video.